Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to We Talk Football. My guy Kwaku, to my left, is back. How you doing?
I'm all good, brother. This is what take 17 of this.
Oh,
Obviously, as we touched on before, is it frozen again?
no, fine. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, take 17. I've moved into a new yard as we talked about before, and as a result, I'm using my personal hotspot. So we've had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, we can make it through this video without any more. But yeah, I'm all good. How you doing?
technical difficulties being that the video freezes every 30 seconds. Kwaku is like on the screen. That and the fact that I've got DIY going on, so there's every 5 seconds. So, we're moving. We're making do with the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the football. There's been some big games on this week. Obviously, you had the City and Everton game. City really establishing their dominance, pulling out ahead of in the Premier League title. But there's also been some big Champions League games. And the big argument that's been going around social media, all the pundits have been saying it on television, is that Messi and Mbappe and Haaland are going to be the two players to take over the mantle from Messi and Ronaldo. What do you think about that, Quakes?
Yeah, I definitely think that's how it's been set up. Whether it's as linear as that, obviously the Messi-Ronaldo rivalry is unparalleled. You compare it to maybe Nadal and Federer. So of that ilk, we were very, very blessed and lucky to have that, especially when they're playing at Barcelona and Real Madrid. I do think that Haaland and Mbappe are next up in terms of the two next players to take the mantle of being the best players in the world. And the performance during midweek kind of reinforced that with Mbappe's incredible hat-trick away at Barcelona and Haaland's 2 goals, which were great, and an assist against Sevilla in the Champions League. So both do at the highest levels, both kind of achieving what Messi and Ronaldo have achieved, but at an earlier age. So I'll be interested to see how these two players develop and see if there is actually a budding rivalry there.
For sure. Yeah, I think I'd be inclined to agree with you. I think the numbers that they're putting out at this point of their career are actually beating the numbers that Messi and Ronaldo did. So I think that's a promising statistic. Obviously, it doesn't mean that they'll go into the level of greatness that these guys have done for the last 10, 15 years. But I think it's good. It's good as a football fan. For the last few years, we've had that question, like, Messi, Ronaldo, they're aging. Who are going to be the people to take over that mantle and light up the footballing stage? The international football and just breathe life into football. And it looks like as if these two guys are going to be right in there for the conversation. I think. Who do you think's got the highest ceiling?
In terms of highest ceiling, I'd say that Haaland's got the highest ceiling just because I don't think we've kind of even seen 5 or 10% of what Haaland could be. He's only 2021. And as we've seen with strikers like Luis Suarez, with Benzema, with Cavani, with Ronaldo, with Ibrahimovic, these forwards that kind of hit their prime when they hit 30, Lewandowski. So I think Haaland's got a long way to go, and we're going to see the best of him maybe in like 5, 10, 15 years. But like,
you say Ronaldo. What Ronaldo are you talking about? Are you talking about the original Ronaldo? Or are you talking about Cristiano?
I'm talking about Cristiano. The original Ronaldo was done by 30. But
yeah.
But in terms of Mbappe, I think we haven't seen the best of Mbappe because he's got a long way to go as well. But we've seen him achieve incredible things already at this tender age. So in terms of the ceiling, I think that Haaland's ceiling is higher, but I think Mbappe is a better footballer. What about yourself?
Yeah, you can't underestimate the fact that Mbappe's already won a World Cup. Mm-hmm. He's won a World Cup with France. Granted, France, that squad that France got, the players that don't even get into that squad, like our top level. When you got Benzema and Lacazette not going to the World Cup, it's like, well, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mbappe's won the World Cup. He's gone to a Champions League final already, and he's in the formative stages of his career. He's been at PSG for a few seasons now, and he's really establishing himself, and he has been for the last few seasons, but he looks like he's stepping it up. And again, that hat-trick in the week was a banger. That third goal, like, just so casual, so nonchalant, just like, inside of his foot, boom, hold the R1 trigger, easy, finesse, easy. And then Haaland is, again, he's younger, but he's done this at every club he's been at so far. He's some of the numbers he's put out for Borussia Dortmund, even when he came in last year, like, he just hit the ground running. So really, it's so hard to say, because what do you bring down what do you bring it down to? Because if you're talking about a ceiling, do you see Haaland really achieving anything on the international stage? Norway aren't the power that France is. So it's going to be interesting. I think in club football, I think the ceiling is extraordinarily high for the both of them, just because they've shown enough. There was some statistic that in the last like year or so, they've scored like 10, 15 goals more than what Messi and Ronaldo have combined in that year period. So it's very, very intriguing, very, very intriguing. I'd be inclined to say that if you're looking to sell tickets, I think you're probably going to sell more tickets with Mbappe and the brand that surrounds Mbappe. But I think if you're going to build a team, you're probably going to build a team around Haaland, because Haaland is your striker. He's going to be the guy that bags your goals. But if I'm making a team with Haaland, I'm probably putting Mbappe at left wing, because I feel like they've got the ability to do that. So I know that kind of, I know that kind of sits on the fence a little bit, but I think, if I'm going to build any team, Haaland would be the first person on my team sheet, and then Mbappe would be second. If I want to talk about the financial aspects and the economics and how you could probably make money as a football club, you'd probably buy Mbappe first for everything else he would bring. What do you think?
Yeah, so I feel like you say, you can't underestimate how much of a commercial commodity Mbappe is. But I think Haaland will also get there. The only problem, like you briefly touched on there, is the fact that he is Norwegian, and we don't know. Maybe he can drag Norway to success on the international stage, but it's more unlikely. I think we'll see Mbappe in finals of World Cups and Euros going forward, which will only enhance his legacy. But how, like Messi and Ronaldo, I know Ronaldo's won the Euros, but they kind of made their name on the European stage in terms of Champions League performances, in terms of notching league titles. And the thing I love to see about Haaland and Mbappe is that when these players are being built, it's like when you're building up to the game, you're hyping up and you want to see somebody deliver. They almost deliver like basketball players. It's like, that LeBron James in the game 7 is going to deliver at least 25, 30 points minimum. Kobe Bryant's going to deliver 35 points minimum. And Mbappe and Haaland, similar to Messi and Ronaldo, will always deliver when you expect them to. When the lights are shining the brightest, they turn up. And so we are in for a treat for the next decade, because they are going to set the football world alight.
For sure. And I'd be intrigued to see how that statement ages, because, we're in for a treat for the next decade. It's a big statement, but, they're putting in the performances thus far to, justify that kind of opinion. Yeah. What I want to know is, as a football fan for yourself, where would you like to see these players playing next year?
So naturally, I'm going to say Chelsea, because I want to see all the best players in the world play for Chelsea.
Who do you want him to? What you want both at Chelsea, or you want?
So preferably, this is me talking like fantasy. I think Haaland at Chelsea would just absolutely bang in terms of like the profile of a Chelsea striker. What I know to be a successful Chelsea striker in terms of that strong mentality, brings other things into the game. They bring other players into the game. So I'd love to see Haaland at Chelsea, but again, I'd love to see Mbappe at Chelsea as well. So that's where ideally I'd like to see him. But apart from at my club, I feel like Haaland would be a perfect fit at Man City. I think he'd be an absolutely ideal fit at Man City. And Mbappe, I think, is Real Madrid bound. Maybe not for the next 2-3 years. I feel like it's going to be quite difficult to prize him away from PSG, but I do see him being a Galactico in the future. What about yourself?
So with a degree of romanticism to what I'm about to say, I would like to see Haaland at Chelsea again, as much as this is me talking as a generic football fan right now, as opposed to having a West Ham hat on. So I'd love to see Haaland at Chelsea. I'd love to see Mbappe at Liverpool. And then I'd also like to see Messi come into the Premier League and play for City, reunite with Pep. And I'd like to see Ronaldo come to United and have those two players in the swan songs of their career, really go out on a high. I think Ronaldo would obviously bring that winning mentality, that, he's just a serial winner. I'd love to see what he could add to that Man United side, where it's very young, very formative. You would say that it's probably going in the right direction. So I'd like to see what he could add there. And City, again, you're completely right. City are going to need a replacement for Sergio Aguero. He's out of contract at the end of the season. Who's going to replace him? Messi, again, he's aged, but Messi is Messi. You take Messi if you're 58. Do you know what I mean? I think Haaland's a good fit there. I think I do see what you're saying, but I do also think he fits the profile of the Chelsea striker. That young, that hungry, quick, strong, can hold up the ball, bring other players into the game, really fits in the mold that Didier Drogba and the Diego Costa, those kind of ilk of strikers, because he's well built. But I think he's probably like a mesh of the two. I think he's probably a little bit quicker than Didier Drogba and a little bit more clinical, but he's not as and he holds the ball up like Diego Costa, but he probably isn't as aggressive or possibly as strong, you know. So it'd be interesting to see what he would look like in a Chelsea side. And then Mbappe at Liverpool, you've got all the links. You know, obviously you've had all the Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know, celebrations. You've had the Jota celebrations, and you know you've had, you know, Mbappe talk about Liverpool in a good light in interviews. You know, you've got the LeBron James connection between Mbappe and LeBron James, and LeBron James a minority shareholder at Liverpool. So there's a bunch of, you know, links there. And as a romantic football fan, you know, and someone who's a fan of the Premier League, I would love to just see these players come into the Premier League, you know, and, you know, bring it up to, you know, just like, I think it's the best league in the world already, but I would just love to see these players come back and just, you know, really breathe some life into the Premier League. Not that it needs it, but yeah.
I do think there's going to be a merry-go-round in terms of forwards this summer. It might be this summer, it might be next summer, but Harry Kane's got to have a look at himself in terms of like what he wants to achieve in his career. And I feel like that could have knock-on effects. Like Haaland will be on the move within the next year or two. With Mino Raiola as an agent, he's either going to be off next summer where his buyout clause comes into effect of 65 million, or he'll be off this summer and the team will pay 100+ million for him. So I feel like he's going to be on the move in the next couple of years. I think Harry Kane's going to be on the move. I think Messi's going to be on the move. I think Juve are now looking at life after Cristiano Ronaldo. So he could also be on the move as well. So I feel like this summer, maybe possibly next summer, is going to be huge in terms of big name strikers being on the move. And I feel like you see one go and you'll see another one maybe fill up his spot. So I feel like it's going to be very, very interesting to see where everything lands come summer 2021.
100%. And you're probably right when you say that Mbappe could go to Real Madrid. But the only thing that I question right now is the financial state of Spanish football. And the financial implications that will come with if Messi does actually leave the Spanish league is huge. Obviously, Barcelona are in financial turmoil at the moment, but the amount of revenue and money that Messi brings to the league alone, I just don't know how teams in the Spanish leagues are going to be able to bring in, you know, like Mbappe. Like, for example, Real Madrid, when was the last time they bought a Galactico? You know, like they haven't done that in a long time. You know, they've really adopted an approach of signing young players, and well, their transfer approach has actually been quite bad, you know, if I'm honest. Like they've brought in a lot of young players and they've shipped them off. Like Kovacic at Chelsea, Hakimi at Inter Milan, you know.
I do think that with Real Madrid though, they go through this. So obviously they had the original Galactico era, probably say between like 2001 and probably ended in 2007. And then there was a little gap and then they went again. They brought in Kaká, they brought in Benzema, and they brought in Ronaldo, all in the same transfer window. So I feel like Real Madrid will go again because that's just what they do. And I feel like if it's not this summer, next summer, Real Madrid will bring in a host of world-class players. I know there's been financial kind of difficulties in the Spanish league, but they will always find a way of bringing in these players. The thing that bit Madrid in the backside is the Eden Hazard move that hasn't really panned out as well as they would have liked. And they spent upwards of 100 million in terms of the add-ons as well to Chelsea for a player that's barely played for them. But I feel Real Madrid will go again, and I feel like they will make Kylian Mbappe their premier target, and it's whether Mbappe wants to go there or not.
That's fair. Well, I suppose it's a question that we're going to have to leave for the comments. So where would you like to see these guys playing? Would you like to see Mbappe play for Real Madrid, or do you want to see him come to the Premier League and ply his trade with a team like Liverpool? Same with Haaland. Would you like to see him, you know, maybe stick it at Borussia Dortmund and follow a same path as like Lewandowski and stay in Bayern Munich? Where do you think these guys should go? As for me, they've got to come to the Premier League and prove it on the top level. But yeah, let us know, guys. In the meantime, subscribe to us, like the video, go on all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, you know, just follow everything. And, you know, respect that we're trying to do this with technical difficulties, and it's probably like the 5th time we've recorded it. So thanks for bearing with us.
Nice one, guys. Sweet.
Catch you next time.